Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Sammy's on Highland Road, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Randy McKay with us today. Scott Rabelais on his way to Fort Worth. The National Gymnastics Championship starting tomorrow. LSU in that final 8. We'll talk with Scott about that. Wes Reynolds with us on the recap of the Masters and his weekly golf picks with us too. So we got in our consensus golf picks that we'll have for you in the next hour. We're here at Sammy's on Highland Road, home of the newly crowned, Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Crawfed champions, is that how I understand it?
Crawfish Boil champions.
Crawfish Boil champions.
Yeah, the Epicurean Society with their great event. They had great weather over at Oak Lodge and off Jefferson on March 22nd. And, yeah, congratulations, Sammys. They won the championship at the 2026 Crawfish Boil contest. So, really, really good stuff. And to celebrate that, they're giving it's an unbelievable special, man. I mean, 10 pounds of crawfish, 5 is a lot for one person to eat, okay? 5 is a lot, and they are doing a 10-pound tray and a pitcher of Bud Light or Ultra for just $39.99.
I like it.
I mean, that is unbelievable, man.
Bring some friends.
So that's it's every day, 7 days a week that we're doing that we're boiling over here. So 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday all day, starting at 11 a.m. But again, that's a Tuesday and Wednesday special at both locations. Of course, the original where we are today on Highland Road near Starring, and also in Prairieville at Old Perkins near Airline.
All right, so
some big exciting news. Huh?
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's a heavy competition, man. There's a crawfish boil contest that go on all over in South Louisiana, but that's our big one here in Baton Rouge.
That is a wonderful event, and believe me, when you go to that thing, you're going to get so many different versions of it. I know everybody's got their own way that they like to do things, but you went over there. That's the major leagues, baby.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's the biggest one that they do, and Rufino's very involved. Our buddy Brad Watts from his crew is over there, and we've promoted it a lot. It was sold out, so a great event on March 22nd, a great venue, and it's where our buddy Jay Hover from Beauvoir Park does his Federalis Fest. So it's a big honor. No doubt. So, and we're boiling all the way through Father's Day, just like we did last year over here at Sammy's. So boiling through Father's Day at Sammy's Grill. So,
listen, we got a lot of local stuff to get to. I want to talk about the LSU baseball game last night. The NFL draft is just over a week away. We got all that stuff going on, but I've been waiting all morning to ask you. Saved it for the show. I didn't want to ask you before. You think LaMelo Ball should have been thrown out of the game last night?
What do you think?
I know what I think.
It's come on, man. That's how when there's a delay and they're sitting there with idle time, can't they look at that when a guy is being addressed to and then assisted off of the court into the locker room for the rest of the game?
Of all of the ridiculous challenges that we get that hold up these games for 3-5 minutes, sometimes longer, on out-of-bounds plays. And I get it. A lot of these calls are crucial, okay? And there's a limit to the number of challenges. But of all of the camera angles that we've got, and this is the playoffs, okay, the play-in, but this is the playoffs. We're not talking about a game in November that, is – in the grand scheme of things, inconsequential, okay? We're talking about the best player on a play-in game that is leg whipped. I mean, the Karate Kid didn't sweep the leg like this guy.
It was so
you can't
dirty.
look at that.
So dirty.
You can't look at that. You're telling me that with all the technology they have, and you can book it, there's going to be a fine coming from the league because they're going to review it.
We're reviewing this for a flagrant one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many over and over eating this?
And there's
my God.
And there's no call. And Spoelstra's got a point. Okay, he's like, and he called all the referees by names because they all know each other. And he says he's got to see that, and if he doesn't see that, the other guy's got to see that. And the crux of the problem was they didn't make a call on the initial play, and so now the mechanism for review is not there. But I mean, this was one of the dirtier plays that I have seen, and LaMelo Ball doesn't have a reputation like this. We're not talking about Grayson
he's done
Allen.
it before.
Well, I haven't seen him
he
do
did the
anything
same
like
thing.
Did he? Okay.
Oh, yeah, like a year or two ago. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I don't think of him
Kinda-
like I think of Grayson Allen or Draymond Green or
No,
the kid from
but
Michigan State who kicked everybody in the groin. Maybe he's got some other plays, but I don't think of him like that. But this was dirty, man.
But he has done it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you cost Miami their best player in a game that you end up winning by 1 point, and I thought his reaction, showed it all. That he kind of did it. He didn't look back, and after the game, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go check on it." Oh, really? No? Okay. Well, it's nice of you.
And the explanation was just even more insulting. It was, we don't want an explanation. We don't want to know his intent. We want to know what happened. I mean, and it was as dirty as it gets, and he knocked it, and it cost them their best rebounder by far, and they were out rebounded, especially on the offensive end, which gave them like 27 second chance points. I mean, it was a difference. It was a difference in the game. Now Miami more than had their chances. They blew it. I mean, Kobe White hits the unbelievable three to send it into overtime. I mean, just a catch and shoot. It was just unbelievable. Tyler Hero hit some unbelievable threes to give them a chance to close it out. It was an unbelievable game if you didn't get your stream interrupted at the end. So, and here we go again. And look, whether it's Netflix with the Tyson fight, whether it's the first, streaming is not as dependent technically as the cable.
Help me remember here, because I subjected myself to that Tyson fight because it was a Friday night and there was nothing else on, and it was infuriating and with the feed. And then once the fight came on, that was a farce. But I seem to remember Netflix doing that as a trial run because it was the year that they had NFL playoff games on for the first time. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but that's not.
Well, wait, hang on. So essentially, the Tyson fight was a trial run to make sure that nothing happened when they got to the NFL.
A lot of people that paid for that fight.
A ton of people paid for that
You
fight.
should start a little bit lower for a trial technical run.
I don't disagree with that at all. But what I'm saying is that for all of the problems with the fight, I don't remember a bunch of problems with the football game.
No.
Okay.
No. You can have it, but
yeah.
Charlie, we deal with technical issues all the time. Do we not? Do we not have technical issues?
Yes.
I mean, it happens. I mean, even at a much lower operation like this, but I mean, streaming is more. You're adding more layers of complexity.
So I'm asking,
you're laying
where
more
was
things that can happen.
And where was the trial run for this? Where was the, where was the more assurance? And look, I don't like to talk about technical problems. You're right. We have them all the time.
How many Thursday night games have they done in football? They've done a million. They're streaming.
We're in
they didn't expect
4
this.
or 5, right?
They did. They do a regular season NBA.
Yeah.
No, so they do it. I mean, but it's, it reminds me of like kind of the 70s where it'd flip up and you watch an NFL game, watching something, technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I mean, they come up, they had the little screen set up. I mean,
right.
it's just.
And look, you're right. We have them all the
and
time.
look,
It's part of the deal.
I put on the stream early and it was grainy. I couldn't even. It was so I had to go to the Spanish feed, and that was better.
That's okay. You speak Spanish.
Then you. I'm watching the Portland game, and the audio is 2 seconds ahead of the video where I know the ball's going in before they shoot it. I mean, it's just it was and everybody had different, a little bit varied experiences, but there was a lot of issues last night, and it's.
I'll be honest with you. I watched very little.
Are they spending the same amount on the production for these NBA games that they are for the NFL games?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Whatever, they're using a local crew, or they're using, the best engineer, whatever it is. I mean, are they spending as much on the production, the equipment, everything involved? I don't see how you go that many times on a Thursday night NFL game with very little problems to, man, there was all kinds of problems at both games.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I watched very little of this. I watched the baseball game, and we're still on ESPN. We're on ESPN Plus now with the baseball games. That production has gotten really good. Okay, it wasn't when they first started. It was cumbersome. It's really good now.
The SEC teams are one of the better. The other ones on that ESPN Plus they can be really look like just like you got your rabbit ears type of.
Just the fact that you're getting a feed of South Alabama and Coastal Carolina.
Yes, I mean Dallas Baptist and Texas Arlington and Baylor and Oklahoma State. Look, I get it, but there's just a little bit more money because those are SEC Plus type of.
Yeah,
But
I saw the trip and. I wonder what New York's going to do. I wonder what they're going to do about this, because to me, this warrants a one-game suspension.
Absolutely.
Because you missed it.
They're not going to do it.
No, they're not going to do it. You missed it in the game. You missed the opportunity to review it. How long did it take them to get Bam off the court last night? 6 minutes? Ish?
I can't.
Long enough to do a review. And they didn't do that.
Yes.
So I don't expect with another day that they're going to do anything.
Now, as far as the veteran in Miles Bridges, former Knick, he was incredible down the stretch. LaMelo Ball also, I mean, just too much. I mean, some quick shots. If he hits 1-3, he was 2 of 16 from 3.
Yeah.
You don't shoot 16 threes if you're not hot. Okay? Knippel, they've extended the voting for the NBA awards. They're looking into the 65 to get some clarification on some guys if they get 65 games or not, or if they're going to soften that. It's just a weird thing. But I wish that they were in before last night. They're not supposed to include last night. That's definitive. But human element, does it impact?
Hell yes.
Because he had a rough night.
Yeah.
He had a very rough night. He was 0 for 6, and he couldn't get his own shot off. I mean, he's 2 of 12 from the field from completely. Cooper Flagg's out. We get it, but is it you're going to get, like Max's point when he was trying to talk about Cooper Flagg's a better player. Kyle Knippel in his rookie season led the league in 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
That's hard to overlook, and they like those kind of landmark things, but he is finished slowly. So my plus 170, I could still cash out at a price, but I'm going to roll the dice.
The defense in the playoffs is a little different.
Yes. Yes.
The coach on the other sideline been at this a while.
The regular season was worse. That was not good basketball last night. That was great basketball last night.
Imagine if they got it more than just 2 months out the year.
I mean, it just kind of works out. You just turn it off till it comes on. I mean, you got with college basketball, you got the Masters, and then we play for keeps in it. But it was not good. It was great. The atmospheres were electric. They're playing so hard. The shot making was off the charts. Man, the Jewish Jordan, the Israeli kid, man, and for Portland, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. I mean, just my goodness. It was just the shot by White, the shot by Hero, the bucket at the end for Ball. They put Jaime Jaquez on him, and he overplayed it, and he just took himself out the play. Can't let him go to his dominant hand for a layup. And so then they inbounded quick. They don't have any timeouts, so they had some situational awareness there. They speed down. Guys going to the goal. But who was it? It was Mikal Bridges with a block, a clean block. It was just the level of play last night, and listen, we're talking about shots with guys in their face, man, off balance, man, those ticky-tack, a lot of that early, what you see with the receivers early in the playoffs, like, hey, man, where's the interference? No, we ain't calling that ticky-tack stuff in the playoffs. They had a lot of that early when guys would make a bucket in both games. No, we got to play through some contact. And the level of play was so damn high last night. They were both close games. They're both decided very late. The places were electric. Their intensity, I mean, they're just off the bench when they make big shots. It was great. And it's really it's a shame. It's just, but this is what we have now. I mean, I'm fine with you. Humans gets upset. Dude, just shut it off until they play for keeps. That's what we do.
Done that for quite a while. We're here at Sammy's again, the Crawfish Ball champions here. Tuesdays and Wednesdays all the way through Father's Day. The big package, 10 pounds, along with a pitcher of Bud Light or Michelob Ultra for $39.99 here at Sammy's on Highland. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, and new Handycast up at on YouTube, brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026, supporting our Louisiana farmers. Go to SupremeRice.com. LSU wins last night 4-2 over Northwestern State. It was the same except different.
Wait.
I'll explain. I'll explain. Yeah, I know. The same except different. So let me give you the different part first of all. And the different part was right there in the starting lineup. Who's the best pitcher I have? I'm just trying to get into Jay Johnson's head. Who's the best pitcher I have available to me tonight that is not Kason Evans or William Schmidt, who are my top two starters, are going to start on Friday and Saturday against Texas A&M. Who's the next best guy? Who's the next best guy I got that can pitch? Who's the next best guy I got available to me? Zach Cowan. Okay, you're starting because we need to get off to a good start tonight. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking my most reliable bullpen arm right now, my veteran, and I'm saying go out there and throw strikes, and let's not get ourselves in a bind like we have in a number of these other midweek games. Second thing is, who's the best hitter I've got on the team? Derek Curiel. Okay, you're back in the leadoff hole tonight. Okay, they've experimented with him all over the place. There's no bad place to hit Curiel, but guess what? You're going to go
4. I don't like 4.
It worked out, but no, he's not a classic cleanup hitter. So okay, who's the best guy I got? Curiel. Put him in the 1 hole. Okay, who's the next best guy I got? Well, the guy with the top average right now is Aaron Beatty. Put him in the 2 hole. Who's the next best guy I got? Jake Brown. Put him in the 3 hole. All right, good. Now I got my best pitcher on the mound. I got my best 3 hitters in whatever order, at the top of the order. I'm going to get off to a good start. And they probably fell behind 1-0 in the second inning, but it wasn't, because it was actually exactly what you want to do. Pattern pitching is, I'm going to throw strikes, and if somebody I'm not going to nibble at a 7-hole hitter that has not hit a home run all year. I'm going to throw him a pitch that's a strike, and if he hits it out, God bless. Well, the catcher for Northwestern State hit 1 out. That didn't bother me at all. You throw a strike to a guy who hadn't hit a home run all year, even if it's right down the middle of the plate, he hits it out great, because he ain't going to do that very often. You walk 2 guys, make an error, and throw a wild pitch, that's going to bother me. You give up a home run to the 7-hole hitter, a solo homer, that's fine. After Cowan, he brought in Fontenot, who's done a nice job, and it allowed LSU to get back in the ball game. They tied the score in the 3rd. Braden Simpson, who they brought in from High Point, who had a terrific career there. I think it was like 39 career home runs. Hadn't hit one yet this year. Hits one over the center field fence. Okay, I mean, he hit this thing well over, I think it's 420-something feet. Not many guys can do that. You hit a ball straight away, 400-plus feet, man, that's something. And then you get to the 5th, And here we go again. Simpson. Last week it was Aaron Beatty. Aaron Beatty hits 4 home runs at Tennessee on Sunday. Not many guys can do that. Takes a tremendous amount of talent. And then gets to Ole Miss on Friday night and gets picked off a third base in the first inning in a play that anybody that's ever put on a pair of spikes knows better than what to do. So what happens? This same doggone thing happens again. Simpson, who hit a ball 424 feet in the third inning, is at third base in the fifth. There's a ground ball to short. And what does he do? For some reason, he gets about, 20, 25 feet down the line and just freezes. The ball's hit to the shortstop. Shortstop's playing back. If you go to the plate, they're probably not even going to throw, okay? If you're waiting, if you're holding to make sure because, then there's not 2 outs, obviously, well, then that's okay too. But the last thing you do is you go down 25 feet and stop. So what happens? He gets caught. They throw the plate. He's out about 5 feet, and, you lose a chance for another run. Brown bails you out. He hits 3-run homers, so you get the lead back. But it's when I say it's the same except different. So the difference was Johnson put his top guys out there in a midweek game. You don't do that all the time. The same thing is you get a player that makes an unbelievable play. This is what's the frustrating thing about LSU. You got guys who can hit the ball 420 feet. You got guys who can hit 4 home runs in a game. And for some reason, these same players get to third base and their brain goes to jello. I don't understand. I guess it's it was explained to me.
What do you mean you don't understand?
I don't understand how guys who have obviously been in the game that long and played the game at that high level
I agree with
can
that.
make such elementary errors.
Okay. And a lot of the baseball players are drill, but in athletics, and I don't know if this applies to baseball because a lot of these guys, the better ones, just played so much. So you play so much, your instincts are going to be better. But a lot of times, the more talented ones get away with sloppy decisions, instincts, because they're just so much better than their ability can override all the little things. Think about the guys that have to do everything right to stay around. Those role players. You understand sport? It doesn't apply as much in baseball, but it seems like a little bit this. It's a little bit. Are these guys some of the most highly recruited guys they got?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, and you get a guy like a Bregman who never makes a mistake. There's no his instincts, and maybe we've seen so many of these guys come through. But this is about as poor of a baseball IQ outfit for LSU in a long, long time.
It's funny you brought up that analogy because it was explained to me this way. You get a parent who has 2 kids, okay? They parent them the exact same way, right? Because the question comes up, how is Jay Johnson allowing this to happen? His teams never do this. Parent with 2 kids, you parent the kids exactly the same way. They have the same curfews, they have the same study rules, they have the same everything, okay? But they're different, okay? One kid does things a certain way and the other kid does things another way. And to your thing about talent, some kids can get away without studying a whole lot and make really good grades, and other ones got to study all the time just to keep their grades up. That's kind of what I look at. And then you get to the 8th inning last night, and how LSU managed to not get any runs on the board, give up any runs in this inning is still beyond me, because in the inning you had a walk, a wild pitch, a throwing error, another wild pitch, and another walk. Walk, a wild pitch, an error, another wild pitch, and another walk, and managed to not give up any runs. Why? Well, they went and got the next best arm that they got in the bullpen, Devin Sheeran. And he comes in, and he pitches in the 8th, and he gets strikeout to end the inning. And strikeout for the second out, and then a foul out to the third baseman on a weak swing to end the inning. So LSU won it, despite base running errors that would have hamstrung them on another night, despite a cluster in the 8th inning that somehow managed to not score a run for Northwestern, and they hang on with a 4-2 win. So that's the good part that they were able to overcome, and one of your big bats comes through with a big 3-run homer. So that was good. But 3 more errors on the night, multiple wild pitches, and the same things that have been hurting them for a lot of the season were there last night, but they were able to overcome and beat Northwestern State. So, like I said, same but different.
What about Johnson though, with the
Different but the
lineup
same.
and everything? I mean, he's feeling it like
Yeah.
they can't afford to just bury themselves too much further with this RPI.
I think the thing was, and they did go up 8 spots in the RPI from last night. I want to get away from worrying about the day-to-day movements of the RPIs as much as just you got to go win a game. You got to go. Go play a game. But yeah, the RPI thing it's real.
Of course, Charlie. There's not a baseball coach out there that's not trying to improve their team. Okay, but his tactics, his lineups were different.
Yes.
From a typical midweek game.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's what tells you. No,
he needed a win.
It's our job. We're not. He's not saying, "Hey guys, we got to work on our RPI." That's our job.
Yeah.
Okay, but the lineup tells you no. He's paying attention to that.
Right. You got to get him back after lost 4 straight games. By the way, Bethune-Cookman beat the crap out of Florida last night.
Not your typical SWAT team.
No, they're pretty good.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Long-standing staff, great team at Legacy Title. Execute your deals seamlessly. Just cover all of South Louisiana. If you're listening to the spot right now, they can cover your deal. So a great team, Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, or refinancing, it's up to you and nobody else. So use our friends at Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Sammy's on Highland Road, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Big dog, how you doing, Randy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Just kind of recovering after, 2 fun but long weekends, so letting my body recharge a little bit.
I want to get your expertise because, you went to Las Vegas for the Frozen Four, and you went to Indianapolis for the Final Four, so you get a little recovery. But there's a little bit that has been mentioned about, Las Vegas and how it's kind of outpriced some people and charging you for, certain seats at a restaurant and things like that. And now it seems like they're trying to do some summer packages, for, more affordable type of gatherings. We know about, like, when you try and go watch a football game, man, you used to just go save your seat no matter where you were. It could be Caesar's Palace or wherever. Now it's a food and beverage minimum is one thing. Flat out seat costs, for watch a game is another deal. Just a lot of that we're going to. And so now they're getting these big events like F1, the Final Four, NBA All-Star games, the Super Bowl, the college football playoff, all this stuff. So where is Vegas right now as far as being affordable and everything I just talked about?
Well, it's definitely transitioning and probably a little bit for the worse, especially on the Strip as far as pricing. You look at just to get a alcoholic beverages, you're paying at least $10-12 for a beer or something. If you just go up to the bar and don't have any points
Right.
or anything, so that's getting a little bit ridiculous. And and you see some of these new things coming in here. So it's in tradition. It's transitioning. But you're going to find probably more affordable things, either not on the Strip, either downtown Fremont or, some of our favorite local places there. You have South Point people on there and Colucci out at his place, and some
Right.
of those local places still have the value. So if you're going to Vegas, definitely look around and decide. And like we've talked about before, make sure you get your player card. And one thing I should bring up is I'm a member every year, and a good friend of mine, Anthony Curtis at the Las Vegas Advisor, give him a little shout-out. You can pick up a big coupon book there and sign up for his monthly or yearly subscription for $59, and it's got that coupon book inside. It has over $300 in value as well. So
it's free. It's a free coupon book, right?
Yeah, it comes with a monthly subscription. You get every year, and you get you get a newsletter on the internet that's pretty interesting. That keeps you up on the Vegas news. He's
excellent. On that. He is really, really thorough, and he does his homework, man. He's hopping around constantly, and he's a fair critic, wouldn't you say, Randy? He calls out the casinos and some things, and he'll talk about some good promotions that they are doing.
Absolutely, he's more. He started out as a blackjack player and made his name in the blackjack tournaments. Winning those and then the Blackjack Hall of Fame and that kind of thing. So he's a little bit more pro player like me, and looking out for better deals, and very approachable. If you get a question, you can always get a hold of him. And of course, him and my other good friend Frank B, they're responsible for a lot of these Mattress Mac bets as well. That's who Mac consults with before usually making a wager.
Frank B was down in Puerto Vallarta during that scary time. He managed okay though, huh?
Yeah, everything's going well with him. The last time I talked to him, and he sent some video of that. So that was a little scary for him, but he got through that, and everything's pretty much calmed down, back to normalcy there.
When did he? Did you talk to him about it when he recognized what the heck was going on that day?
Yeah, he actually got really lucky that day because he usually goes out to that bad part of town where all the bad stuff happened, and that was the same day as he decided to stay in and watch the U.S. win the Olympic gold there in the hockey games.
That's right.
So it turned out to be a lucky situation for him, so he avoided some of that, and he realized that he's better off staying in place there.
Yeah, our buddy Paul Bovey, who has a place in the same complex, was he told me that he goes out on like a little four-wheeler ride, kind of an excursion on Sundays, and decided to stay and watch the Olympic hockey. That's unbelievable, unbelievable in Milan. So there we go. So, I tell you what, interesting stuff. The final, the Frozen Four. How was Vegas as a host? T-Mobile, Denver, the obscure team. Wisconsin continued that Cinderella run and jumped on them early and held on to win in a semi, but against North Dakota. But Denver beats them in the final. And just what kind of how was it?
Yeah, the event turned out really well. I went to the first Thursday game. I didn't ask them to get in the suite for the Saturday. I left it open, so since North Dakota didn't win. So, but it was quite an event there, and everything turned out really well. It was a great area. All the fans were happy, except for the price of alcohol. But that was going to happen. But other than that, the event was a big hit, and death taxes and Denver winning big games and coming back, New Jersey Devil-like style, where they get outshot 2-1 and winning games. That's kind of how David Carl and company. David Carl's like Dan Hurley. He just kind of finds a way to win and build championships.
We're starting to see some. Charlie, yes. Okay.
I know we're moving to the NFL draft, so
yeah.
I got lots of questions on that.
Where you with your preparation as we, the draft menus are starting to open up a little bit. We're 8 days away. Where you at with your preparation? Any plays that you've made already, or you're really considering?
Yeah, I got some considerations for you guys. I looked at the DraftKings and FanDuel menus.
Okay.
They were the only places I could find any. And, of course, Johnny Avello is one that embracing, or DraftKings is embracing the draft, where, like we've talked about before, all the other companies are trying to get rid of the draft or not have it at all, unfortunately, especially in the Vegas market. So yeah, I looked at some DraftKings, and I actually got one bet or recommendations from there, and another one from FanDuel.
Okay, what you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big offensive line draft. I'm seeing seven and the line 7.5, but it's juiced to the over. So 8, 9 first-round draft picks, offensive linemen, which is right up my alley. I'm a big fan of offensive line, defensive line guys, and I think a team should be built that way. So looked at a couple considerations that maybe offensive linemen. One would be the Kansas City Chiefs for their first pick.
Okay.
It's a plus 250 just sitting there, and with all those offensive linemen, I think they should bolster that part of their. They do kind of have a wide receiver, but how many times are the Chiefs going to take a wide receiver in the first round? So
right.
I could see them going offensive line. And another one that still has a big plus there is the Chicago Bears. I see that being a plus 475. I think it was a little higher before, but I see that having some value there, especially with the loss of Drew Dahlman. He unexpectedly received us out as some of these offensive linemen retired early in his career, so they're going to have to rebolster that a little bit even after they spent a bunch of money last year. So that's 2 offensive line picks I see in the first round.
That's those 2 lines are up. I mean, those prices are available right now at our friends at the Bally's and the Queen. So Kansas City to take an offensive lineman first, plus 250, and the Bears to take an offensive lineman first, plus 475. So there we go.
The Chiefs could, in a certain scenario, the Chiefs could take the top offensive lineman in this draft. If all 3 of the edge rushers go, they're 9. If all 3 of the edge rushers go, and Delane goes, and Jeremiah Love goes, then and at least one of the receivers goes, then it kind of sets up that the Chiefs would have their pick of offensive linemen, and the top guy on the board is Muaga from Miami.
Right.
But there's a very realistic scenario where they could have their pick of the best offensive lineman in this draft.
Interesting. You think Muaga's got a chance to slide there?
Yeah, it's looking like he's going to slide. That's what it's. I've been looking at some of the projections, and he was up there, like a 4th or 5th pick or that early, and looks like he's going to fall back. So, that would be a big bolster for anybody that needs some offensive line help.
It's the Ohio State guys that I think that have got, after Orville Reese, that have got the most volatility. Caleb Downs, I've seen him as high as 3, as low as 11. Sonny Styles, kind of the same thing. I've seen him as high as 3 or 4, and as low as 11 or 12. Cornell Tate, I've seen him as high as 5. I've seen him as low as 13. Ohio State's going to have the most players in this round, Randy, but after you get past Reese, it seems like they've got a wide range. They're all going to go in that top 15 picks, but where they go is real interesting to me.
And if you wanted to just zero down to Francis Muaga at the 9 pick, he's plus 800 as well Spencer.
Whether he's available or not probably depends on some of these Ohio State guys that I'm talking about, Randy.
Yeah, and I could see Downs kind of being, we're looking at new coach Harbaugh there in the Giants. That could be a pretty good fit. That's his kind of player right there at safety. So wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Giants there at 5.
Anything else you're working on, Randy, before we let you go?
Well, I got one more draft.
Okay.
It's only at FanDuel. I think this is one of the few lines they had. I like Ty Simpson plus 130 to go to Arizona. I think that's pretty much where he is going to get picked, sometime in this draft. So, with Jacoby Brissett and Minshew being your 2 quarterbacks, of course, they're going to try to get somebody, I think, this year. So, a little bit plus value there. Quarterbacks are set at 1.5, so that could go either way. I would lean under as far as the quarterbacks in the first round.
Randy, that Cardinals and Simpson thing kind of ties into that. They got the second pick of the second round, so do they think they can stay put and get him there, or do they have to trade back into the first round, and then that messes with your first round odds on Simpson?
Sure. Yeah, that kind of covers you a little bit too if they do decide to trade in the first round as well. So you can look at that as well.
All right, follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. We'll have much more draft picks and angles from you next week. It'll be the eve before the 2026 draft. Randy, thank you so much, buddy. Great stuff as always. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks, guys. Hopefully there's more offerings, too, next week. So, so good luck, everybody out there.
All right, Big Dog checking in with us as he does each and every week at this time. Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine, Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine, Go Ford in Waveland, the Go Automobile Dealership family. My buddies Lee Coney and Nick Richard. Got my vehicle from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Really, really more than pleased. Lee and Nick go out of their way to really make the car buying experience that much easier. You can go to their website and check out their inventory. You get pre-approved for credit on their website. Concierge service department, super convenient. Talked about where they will bring you a loaner and pick up your vehicle, evaluate it, and communicate with you, get the work approved that you want, pay right over the phone. Really, really simple stuff. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing at the Go Automobile Dealership family here in South Louisiana and also in Mississippi. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine. And Go Ford in Waveland.
Live at Sammy's on Highland Road. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here at Sammy's, the Crawfish Ball champions. Tuesdays and Wednesdays all the way through Father's Day. 10 pounds plus a pitcher of Bud Light or Michelob Ultra for $39.99 here at Sammy's on Highland Road. The trend continues. Jimmy, we'll just spend a second on this because we talked about it last week when Connor Griffin signed his big deal with Pittsburgh. We got another one yesterday, another rookie that obviously played a little bit more than Griffin had, and Kevin McGoingle from Detroit. 8 years, $150 million for, let's see, a guy with 61 career at-bats. More and more and more. This is almost like the entire landscape of baseball for those not eligible for free agency has changed. We were starting to see a few of these deals. We saw it as far back as Alex Bregman. But now you're seeing it across the sport.
Charlie, the Pirates, too, batting average, on-base percentage, runs, home runs, slugging percentage, all in the top 10 in Major League Baseball.
Just
the Pirates.
A big step in the right direction for them, at least.
They're trying to. This is an angle where they're trying to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. And Connor Griffin hitting 189 in the early going. Back for our
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And we return here at Sammy's on Highland Road. And, Rab, I'm sure you're having a hard time re-entry issues after a week at Augusta. You know, you back to reality, or actually on your way to Texas, right?
I am on my way to Texas. I'm just outside of Dallas right now. Left real early this morning. There's no one to open the door for me like they did in the press building. There's no made to order breakfast. There's no made to order breakfast that just shows up in my kitchen. It's a bit of a bummer, for sure.
It's like going on a wonderful trip for a week, and then you get back and it's back to reality. But All right, give me your wide-angle lens. You were at Augusta all week, from Rory to Sam Burns, or any other story that we might have missed. Your big takeaways from the Masters.
Well, obviously, the big takeaway, big picture is that Rory McIlroy, after this long major championship drought that he had, 11 years, now with back-to-back major titles, he's in a couple of groups now that is nothing but all-time great. I mean, last year, of course, he completed the career Grand Slam to join Sarazen, Hogan, Player, Nicklaus, and Woods as the only people to win all four majors, and now he's in a group of people who win the back-to-back Masters. That's just Nicklaus, Woods, and Faldo. These are all-time greats. And when you get to 6 majors, you're talking, this is big. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's big. He's like tied for 12th of the most majors all time. Faldo, Lee Trevino, and Phil Mickelson. So again, all-time greats, and I think he's. I don't think he's done yet. Is he gonna? He said last year after he won, he said, "Now I want to ask you guys a question. What are we going to talk about next year?" Well, what are we going to talk about next year is, can he be the first person to ever win 3 straight Masters? And I wouldn't put it past him. Sam Burns obviously was in the hunt all weekend. That tee shot on number 2 did him in. He had to take the unplayable lie into a double bogey. I mean, you can't. You got a birdie. You got a birdie too. You can't pick a double. But he hung in there, ended with a tie for 7th. He's getting a little closer, I think, to being a major champion, which I've felt all along that he can be, whether it's the Masters or the PGA or one of the Opens. I think he can be that. And of course, the story that just made the biggest impression on me was Gary Woodland, the former U.S. Open champion. Talk about the PTSD he's suffering from the brain injury, the brain tumor that he had. Just the most open, vulnerable press conference I've ever been to with someone, and he played all right. Yeah, he played all 4 rounds, and that was great to see. And the patrons were very supportive of him. So that was one of the more heartwarming stories of the week, I think.
Let me take them kind of in order here. Let me start with Burns because it crept into my mind after 2, which we didn't get to really see as well as we wanted to. But after that, it crept into my mind that he might go Smiley Kaufman on Sunday. We saw Smiley in the last group. He had a bad start. It unraveled on him. He ended up shooting, I think, 81. After 2, he came back in bogey 3, but then he kind of got it together, Scott, and he actually hit some putts on the back 9, including that bomb at, I think it was 16.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I thought that showed some mental toughness. I know he didn't win, but he came back from a disaster early and kept it together. So I was encouraged by that for future majors, for Sam.
Yeah, this was a little different from, 2 years ago, he's 1 stroke off the lead in the British Open, shoots an 8. Last year, he's leading the U.S. Open, going to the final round at Oakmont. Brutal conditions. Say what you want about the ruling, with the casual water or not, but he ends up in a tie for 7th there. Fades down the stretch, and there are people moving up and down the leaderboard in the final round of a golf tournament. I mean, it's happening. He's not the only one. He played with Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry shot an 8. Haotong Li was playing with Scotty Scheffler, made the 10 on the 13th hole, but it in the creek. I parred the 13th hole, guys. The one time I played, I parred it. I did a lot better than Haotong Li did.
Were you on the leaderboard when you did that, Scott? Come on now.
In my little group, I was on the leaderboard. Yeah.
I got it.
No, tournament golf is golf. There's golf and there's tournament golf. That's for sure. Those are different things. But yeah, I mean, it was just a disappointment. I'm sure he did not speak to the media after the round, so I don't know exactly how he felt about it. But I think overall it's something to build on. He's tied for the lead after the first round. He's tied for second after the second round, 6 strokes back of McIlroy at the time, of course, and 1 stroke back going to the 3rd round. These are all things to build on, and with his talent and skill. I know he hasn't won a tournament on the PGA Tour in 3 years. But he's got the game, and these things can help you or hurt you. You can build you up or build you down, tear you down. And I hope for Sam's case that it will build him up, because he certainly has the skills to be a major champion.
Let me back up on Rory now. He's halfway to his second career Grand Slam. The only guys that have done that are Woods and Nicklaus. They did it 3 times each.
Right.
He's won his 6th major here. Lee Trevino won his 6th major when he was 45. Faldo won his 6th major when he was 41, and Mickelson won his 6th major when he was 50. McIlroy's 36. He's got years of prime golf left. What's the ceiling for him? What's realistic for him?
The people who cover golf say that his goal now, his realistic goal is to get to 9. Gary Player won 9 majors. And of course won the career Grand Slam. I believe Ben Hogan won 9. I'm pretty sure that's pretty good. Obviously, double digits would be incredible, but that's it's like, well, he's won 6, 4 more. It's a lot, but I think he's got a chance. Yeah, he's got to win the 2 Opens again to get the double career Grand Slam. These are all goals, and he said after winning last year, he thought the career Grand Slam was the goal. But just winning, it was hard to get there. But winning the Masters is hard. Winning these tournaments are hard. There's only 4 a year, despite what Brandel Chambly said. There should only be 4. The players should not be a major, and so there are a lot of opportunities. A lot of golfers get to his age and stop winning majors. Palmer won his last Masters, his last major at 34. Same for Tom Watson, although he came very close to winning the British Open again in his late 50s. So, but I like his chance. I don't think he's done. If you had to ask me, is he done winning majors or is he going to win more? I don't think he's done. And then you're getting into just getting into more rarefied air. I think he's proven, 30 PGA Tour wins as well overall, and of course a lot more wins around the world. I think he's proven that he's an all-time great, and he can only burnish his legend from here, make it grow.
All right, let's move on to what you're going to, which is the national semifinals tomorrow night in Fort Worth. Actually, tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 start time in Fort Worth. All right, so gymnastics, the good news is Oklahoma's on the other side, and Stanford, who you've already beaten, is on your side of the bracket. The bad news is Florida's on your side of the bracket, too. They've beaten you twice in the individual meet and in the SEC championships, although LSU's score in Gainesville would have won, I think, any other meet this year in the SEC. So you tell me what LSU's going up against as they try to make the finals tomorrow. They got to end up in the top 2 of this group that includes Florida, Stanford, and Georgia. Yeah, and
Georgia beat LSU in Athens earlier this year. All the meets LSU lost on the road at Oklahoma, at the dual meets, not the SEC meets, at Oklahoma, at Florida, at Georgia. All meets I think LSU would have won at home, quite frankly. They're the only team in the country that's in the top 3 on average at all 4 events: vault, bar, beam, and floor. Vault, bars, beams, and floor. And then so they're right there. They're the number 2 national seed. Georgia, Stanford. I saw Stanford in person. They're a good team, but they're not going to beat LSU and Florida. Georgia is the wild card in their group. They're ranked 6th. It's kind of a renaissance season for them. The first time in 7 years that they made it to nationals. Used to be the dominant program in the country, right? 10 national championships. Trying to get back there. If LSU does what they did last year in the semifinals, which it was not bad, just not great, Georgia could eclipse them. But if LSU performs like they did in their regional, especially in the regional semifinal, when they're the best score of the year, 198-275, they're certainly going to advance. And then you get to nationals and into the final on Saturday, but I really think it's down to 4 teams. Oklahoma and UCLA in the other semifinal, LSU and Florida here. These are the 4 teams that can win the national title. And I think really you're talking about Oklahoma, LSU, and Florida. I think UCLA has a chance, but not quite as good. And then Arkansas and Minnesota are Cinderellas, and Stanford kind of is as well. So I think LSU just they talk all the time, and they talked about it again Monday about just doing their normal. If they do their normal, that is good enough to win. But of course, they do have a couple of injured gymnasts who they're watching out for.
Yeah, you're nothing if not consistent, Scott. You had those same three teams since the middle of the year. So let me ask about specifically Connor McLean, which I think is, correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest concern for LSU going into this meet. But give me an injury status.
Yeah, obviously they had the week off. They had the regional was 2 weeks ago. They didn't compete this past week, and they came back this week. And Jay Clark, who is by his nature a glass half empty kind of guy, said that she was looking good. Day to day, yes, but I said, Jay, can she do one event, two events? I'm hoping she can do all three. She does. She definitely does vault, beam, and bars. Bars is where she got hurt in the regional final. She missed the handhold on the high bar and just slammed down onto the mat and it appeared to hurt her arm. She's got wrist issues. She's got arm issues. She's got elbow issues. She's got back issues. And they need her to win the national championship. They need her. They don't necessarily need her to be great to win tomorrow, to advance tomorrow, but they need her to win the national championship. And then you have Kalia Lincoln as well. Kalia Lincoln got up the morning of the SEC championships and was having ulnar nerve pain, and she was having trouble in her hand, feeling her hand. And all she did was go out and share the SEC floor title. And then she had a perfect 10 on the floor in the regional final. So they're concerned about her as well, but they seem to be managing her health pretty well. I mean, they got to get her to the finish line, and the finish line is coming up. But that's the main goal with her. But McLean is the big concern. You want to get you need a couple of 9925, a 995 out of her on bars and beam to help you propel you to the final and to win it all.
All right, Scott, safe travels. We'll see how they do in their quest for their second national title. Safe travels there and back, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Scott Rabelais from The Advocate. And we're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierreport Store, locations in LaPlace, LaRose, and Lockport. There's too many L's down there, man. LaRose and Lockport as well. Right now, patio must-haves. The Brawl King gas grills are on special, $100 off right now at the website. The Pit Boss 3 burners are also on special, under $600 right now. Patio furniture on special. You can check it out at the website, thethibodeaustore.com. You're working in your yard, working in your garden right now. Garden soil, potting mix, all of those on sale right now. Miracle Grow on special right now. All of your garden tools, lots of these things are on up to 50% on garden tools right now at all of these locations. Again, if you order it online, same-day pickup is available, and there's delivery available on some of these items. You need lumber, get it out of the Pierreport Store. They will deliver that for you if you got some construction projects going on your property this spring. And if you need advice, the do-it-yourselfers, ask for some advice from the experts at the Thibodeau Store. They will save you time. They'll save you money. You won't be buying supplies that you don't need, using techniques that will cost you extra time. The Thibodeau Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, open until 5:30 daily. Pierreport Store on Highway 70 in Pierreport. And again, online, all 4 sites available at the one website, thethibodeaustore.com.
As soon as you walk in, Charlie, there's people to greet you, and we have plenty of assistance. And then if you trying to find something special, need extra assistance, just ask. I mean, just that's where they separate themselves from the rest too. I mean, it's just independently operated with people too willing to. Wanted to get some supplies to place recently locally. I mean, you got to beg people to do their job. This is not the case, man. It's old school service and friendliness, and just a great pub. Just great buying experience.
Very much worth the drive down at the Thibodeau Store. Live at Sammy's on Highland Road, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
And return here at Sammy's on Highland Road. The Crawfish Ball Champions, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. 10 pounds of crawfish plus a pitcher of Bud Light or Michelob Ultra for $39.99. That's all the way through Father's Day.
It's unbelievable.
Bring a group.
Man. I mean, 5 pounds is a lot for one person. That's two people and a pitcher of beer for $20 a piece. That is awesome over here. That's Tuesdays and Wednesdays through doing boiled crawfish over here at Sammy's. Both locations, the original where we are today at Highland near Stark and Old Perkins near Airline through Father's Day. Let's bring in Wes as we talk about. Wes, thanks for coming on and your biggest takeaways from the Masters.
Well, first of all, guys, if you eat the full 10 pounds, do they put your picture on the wall at Sammy's?
There wouldn't be any space. There's quite a few that can go through all 10 pounds around here, including myself. So, yeah, not the case. So, yeah, you need to get down here one time, Wes, and we could do some crawfish.
We'll teach you how to peel.
Yes, indeed.
I do, man. I need to get to a game. I have not experienced Tiger Stadium and would definitely like to do that at some point.
Yes, indeed. So what'd you think about the Masters?
Well, Rory winning was very prepared, obviously, practice rounds. He drifted a little bit up in the market because there was concern about the injury, with the back injury. And we saw Colin Morikawa kind of gingerly moving around. He had a back injury of his own. But I thought that there were really two guys that had the opportunity that think leaving they should have had the green jacket. And you could argue for Scotty certainly too, but he was always chasing. But it never looked, because he never had the lead, it never looked like he was going to win, even though he was going to be a factor. But the two guys that had the lead at one point, Cameron Young and Justin Rose, I think those are the two guys that have got to be kicking themselves. And I had a Cameron Young ticket, and he's too clear after 5 holes. A lot of golf left to be played, but you're thinking, okay, maybe this is his day. He got those couple good bounces on Saturday off the trees, right into the fairway. It's like something's going on here. Like somebody's looking down on him, like this is going to happen. And then he bogey 6, and then he's dead center of the fairway with a 100-yard wedge and ends up making bogey on 7. Then you knew his chance was gone. And then Rose was on the back 9 a few groups ahead, and it looked like he was leading. Then he chunked that little chip on 12. So just those mistakes, I think those two guys have to feel like they let one slip away, and Rory gets it done again, back to back.
Yeah, I think Rose is the one that's losing the most sleep at where he is in this stage of his career. How many more swings does he, how many more plate appearances does he have at this thing? And he's in position, man. On the back 9, got the lead. So I think he's the one that's probably wondering how many more chances he has. Max, you wanted to throw at Wes about the playing conditions and things like that. About if just because there was a lot of talk about how dry it was going to be, and maybe they overdid some things.
Yeah, Wes, do you think, they clearly watered the greens a lot on Friday. We talked so much about how it'd be a firm and fast Masters. Ultimately, they get their winning score right around what it always is. 12 under par, that's pretty much where it always is. Do you think that the Masters has a winning score that they aim for of about 12 under, where there are enough birdies on the weekend to keep everyone happy, or do you think it was about keeping the grass green and keeping the Masters lush and the visuals that they like to appear? Because it did look like there was starting to be a little bit of browning by the weekend.
Yeah, I think, Max, it might be a little bit more of the latter. And Scotty pointed that out, like how fast it was. As he got off to another bad start in round 1. That's kind of been the theme of his season so far in 2026. And it was really firm and fast. But so I don't think Augusta is kind of like the USGA with the U.S. Open, where it's like, we want to make this as hard as possible and not lose the course. We don't want people shooting double digits under par, whereas the RNA that governs the Open Championship, the British Open, it's kind of like, you play the course as it lies. You play how it is. If you shoot 20 under, great. If you shoot 2 under, great. We're that's the course. That's the weather conditions and how it is. So I don't know if Augusta is necessarily going for a certain score. I think aesthetics is mainly their main concern.
Another thing for you, Wes, we're hearing some speculation about the future of LIV Golf. Ryan French, who does some Monday qualifier following, he was the first to report that he believes that LIV will be done imminently. What do you think about this, and does it kind of match up with what we've seen for the LIV golfers who really struggled at the Masters this week? Tyrrell Hatton, the only top 10 player. Rahm was talking afterwards about how he's got to relook at his preparation for majors, and if you do think that LIV might be done soon, what would the path be for the guys who didn't already come back earlier this year.
Yeah, I was seeing all that news this morning. They were doing, I guess, press conferences at their event in Mexico City, and the John Rahm press conference got lost due to technical difficulties, so I don't know if it was on Amazon Prime like it was last night. There in the overtime, it's like, okay, what happened here as we lost it for about a minute and a half. But, yeah, look, I think what we saw at the Masters, those guys obviously, and I bought into Rahm just because I bought in on the form. He was on my card, and all of them looked bad because they didn't play in North America. And you're playing on all these birdie fests around the world, and I know that they drew at all these events, had a lot of spectators in Australia and South Africa, but they were not prepared. They did not look prepared at all. They looked off. It looked like Rahm, Bryson, we know, always does that, but Rahm is like swinging out of his shoes, trying to hit it as hard as he can and bomb it on wide fairways, and that just didn't work for them. So we shall see what is going to happen here if they reevaluate it, and then it'll get to be what is the past, because Brooks Koepka, I think, kind of set a precedent, but he doesn't have like the full status, so it's not like he's in all the signature events. Like, he's the first alternate this week at the RBC Heritage. So, we'll see what they do with some of these guys. I kind of think, like, if they're going to come back, look, you left and you took the money, there's got to be some consequence to the action. So it's not like you're banned from the tour, but you kind of got to put it in the dirt and earn it to get back out there, I think.
Wes, as we switch to the RBC Heritage this week, I'm just curious, we'll get your picks here, but curious your thoughts on how to handicap this event after the Masters. We've seen Scottie Scheffler, after winning the green jacket, go here and win again. But a lot of times the players who are in contention down the stretch that have that big Sunday run, maybe they're a little bit exhausted to go in another signature event and a golf course that plays totally different. Positional, tree line, very tight. Accuracy is much more important than distance. Are you going to kind of eliminate some of these contenders on Sunday, the Burns, the Roses, the Lowrys who kind of blew it away, but
Cam Young is there.
Cam Young, Jason Day, some other guys who are in the mix on the leaderboard, or are you just going to look for form and other things?
Yeah, I didn't end up playing those guys, but it is a little bit different, like you said, Max, because it's a signature event, so you have a higher quality field than you used to have, I think, when the RBC Heritage was just kind of a regular stop after the Masters on the tour. So, you have to look at it that way. So I don't know if I eliminated him just because of that, but a lot of it was just form. I think course form has mattered over the years here, and guys that just hit their approaches really well. I think guys leading in, whether it was last week at the Masters or those several weeks before, guys that are hitting their irons well. And you mentioned it, positional golf, good drive gain, strokes gained approach, greens and regulation, however you want to term it. Those are the important things this week, because this is a short course. This is only a little over 70 this week, so it's not as challenging of a walk as we clearly see at Augusta.
Scheffler off to a rough start on Thursday and Friday. He was critical of the playing conditions at Augusta. He's the favorite, plus 385 at our local shops here, DraftKings Outlets, Bally's, and the Queen. Who we looking at the RBC Heritage?
Yeah, if you want a single bullet, Scotty, I can't necessarily blame you. He won here 2 years ago, and he's always been pretty good here. I think he's not finished worse than 11th on 3 appearances. But you know me. I don't like to make it easy. I do things the hard way. So I do not have Scotty on the card this week, but I don't go too far below. I played some Xander Shaw play, and I got him earlier in the week at about 15-1. He did what he always does, even when he's not there in contention at the majors, gets that top 10 Xander. That's like one of the surest bets, or top 20 in a standard PGA Tour event. Led the field in GIR last week, second in approach. The greens, I think, really gave him some trouble, and that's why he was not up there with the guys at the top of the leaderboard. But switching back to these greens, the Polo overseed, a lot slower, 11.5 on the stimp. Incoming form, you can't really ignore it. 4 top 10s last 5 starts. So I think Xander's kind of starting to get back in the swing of things after a slow start, and then obviously a slow 2025 with that injury. Speaking of a guy that we did mention, I'm going speculative here. And I played some Colin Morikawa this week. Even though we saw him at the Masters kind of gutting it out, gingerly bending over to pick up his ball out of the hole after he makes another putt. The ball speed off the tee is obviously down, but I don't think that hurts him here, where you're not hitting driver really all that much. You're hitting a lot of three metals, you're hitting a lot of irons off the tee. And because Augusta was such a difficult walk, Harbor Town's a lot easier to get around. He, by the way, did play the Pro-Am this morning, so I'm going to trust that he feels well enough to play here because he doesn't have to play this week. Like Rory's taking the week off, Matsuyama, Adam Scott, a couple others have taken the week off, but he's here, so yeah, if he's here, I feel like he is well enough to play. Top 7 the last 4 events, leading in, number 1 on approach on the tour. Iron play is really the name of the game here. And speaking of a guy with good iron play, Jordan Spieth, 33-1, who won this event actually 4 years ago. That was his last PGA Tour victory, believe it or not. 12th last week at the Masters, 2nd for greens and regulation, 5th on approach. His irons have been great lately, and he really seemed to be in a positive frame of mind, even though he wasn't right there in the mix last week. I think the iron play, and I think that's just going to work here, and then course familiarity. So Jordan Spieth makes the card, as does Maverick McNeely, who's in the mid-30s, maybe as close to 40-1. This was strokes gained around the green. Around the green, by the way, is going to matter this week a lot more than it might usually because you have really small greens here, these deep die, those dome shaped greens, 3,700 square feet on average. So you're going to have to chip. So sometimes these greens might not hold good approaches. So you're going to have to be good with your chips and your short pitches. And Maverick McNeely, certainly one of the better ones with the short game. And then the 2 long guys I have this week, Sahith Theegala, 80-1. Didn't get in the Masters last week because missed so much time last year with those injuries. And the world golf ranking really dropped for him. So now he's trying to get in the top 60 to get in the U.S. Open, and he's got a few weeks to do that. 4 top 10s already this year. Runner-up here to Scotty 2 years ago, 5th in 2023. I think Sahith can have a big week. And then one more at 100-1, Brian Harmon, who was 33rd at the Masters, but Augusta has always kind of been really long for him. He is not a very long hitter off the tee. Harbor Town, I think, is really ideal for him. 4 top 13s, by the way, here in the last 5 years. 3rd last year, 7th in the year before. So Brian Harmon is one of those guys that I think just kind of fits this course. Not a long hitter off the team, but deadly accurate and very good with his irons and can absolutely spike with the putter.
All right, yeah, Spieth, the year he won it, too, in the playoff against Cantley. The very next year, he finished runner-up. So he's got I got an itchy feeling our buddy Max might have give him a special consideration as well. He loves.
Does he like Jordan Spieth?
He loves.
He's close, Jimmy. He's close. He's been close for 7 years.
Just wait for the PGA Championship.
All right, Wes, we appreciate it, buddy. Great stuff as always. Good luck to you.
You bet, fellas. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Wes Reynolds with his picks in the RBC Heritage. So going to be a lot of fun there. So one of the it just always I remember this tournament because it's always one of the first ones after the pandemic that they picked. I think it's the second one. The one in Texas and then this.
Yep,
one.
Colonial, Daniel Berger won, and then Heritage here right after. So
I always forget the guy's name that won the first one.
Well, Daniel Berger, I think, won at Colonial.
Yeah, but the RBC Heritage. Ooh. Not a tremendously.
It wasn't Wesley Bryan,
no,
I don't think.
He's got
Webb Simpson.
Yes,
Webber
Beach, baby. Yes.
Put on the tartan jacket. That's right.
One of my favorite of all time.
Answer, right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They were. That was. Always brings back a little bit of a memory there. Don't forget, we're over here at Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. Congratulations, man, again to Sammy's Grill, the Crawford, the Epicurean Society's big event over there, and at Oak Lodge, man. They won a crawfish boil contest. That's right. So on March 22nd, congratulations. Sammy's is the champion this year. And, man, we're celebrating that championship, boiling every day. We're going to boil all the way through Father's Day, just as we did last year, Monday through Thursday. They come out 4 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day starting at 11 a.m. through Father's Day. And a very special deal for the home stretch of crawfish season. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 pounds boiled, pitcher of Bud Light or Ultra for just $39.99. Get a buddy, come over, a pitcher of Bud Light or Ultra, and 10 pounds of crawfish, just $39.99. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, starting at 4 p.m. on over here. Both Sammy's location, Highland Road, and also Old Perkins near Airline in Prairieville. And right around the corner here from Sammy's at Bluebonnet in Burbank is the newest location, newest branch of United Community Bank. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Hear me talk about their great team of bankers when they're a little unsure of the market a couple of years ago and looked into some CDs and things like that. They're more than accommodating. Great, friendly team of bankers. David Henry, David Campbell, Hunter Creed, Nicole Glover, Heath Meir, Prentice Wilkes. Stop on by today and see how we can help your business or your individual personal situation. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Sammy's on Highland, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
All right, Max, let's get after it, boy.
Well, I got a lot of similarities to what Wes gave out earlier. Jordan Spieth just missed my list. So, Jimmy, you were right.
Come on, I talked you off of him.
I considered him, but no. I felt like it would go in the stereotype.
You didn't feel like being Spieth shamed.
But he's got some success here. Come on, it might play to hit, not penalize for, just.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of those houses are right there on the course.
Well, he doesn't have to hit driver on every hole.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit better for him. And iron play, he's hitting the ball really, really well. He said it. He hit the ball better than he ever has at the Masters. And in terms of iron play, he did this week. Hit his irons very well.
Tung Lee coming over and playing this week? Huh?
That's a good question. He's probably. I think he's still on the 13th hole at the Masters. I think he's still kind of hacking away in the forest.
I watched the replay.
Is not playing,
and they did not show Burns' first 3 shots. They came back, and all of a sudden they showed on 2. He was hitting his 4th. They came back like 20, 30 minutes later, and it showed him where he had to drop and where he hit.
They just lost track of him.
Yeah.
I mean, that they did a poor job Sunday, and CBS is getting rightfully criticized for a lot of things that happened there.
And they've got more resources than NBC, more camera shots and more.
The one thing that's interesting that I didn't consider, we didn't know where the ball was on 18 on the last hole. Where did Rory hit the ball? Well, the Masters has very strict guidelines for the broadcasters. We make fun of it. The second line, the second 9, the second cut. It's not the rough. It's not the back 9. One of the things they are specified not to do is guess where the ball was. So I think there was a little hesitancy of, we think it went in the bunker, but we don't want to say that because the Masters isn't like that. So that's why we didn't really know on 18 where Rory hit the ball. I think they had an idea when the patrons are pointing in front of the green, but they weren't allowed to guess. So that's probably a little bit the Masters are doing.
Well, I got to give them credit, though, and this is new technology, because they said it was he can go shoot it up the 10th fairway and kind of hook it in play. The drone shot showed you how he had that clear space. I thought that was pretty cool.
A little bit after. I wish we had a better idea.
No, they're hestant. Well,
there's
a hesitant tone to, All right, get back to your picks.
All right, so let's start off. You mentioned a couple of these names earlier, Wes did. Xander Schauffele, 15-1. He is playing really good golf. He seems to be injury-free after last year dealing with some injury stuff. And I just look at his history. He won at the Valspar Championship. He was 4th earlier this year at the Valspar. That's a tree-line golf course. Innisbrook's probably the biggest comp to RBC Heritage in that you don't have to hit driver on every hole. It's a little bit more methodical. You got to put yourself in the fairway in specific spots, and he's got a good track record there. On short golf courses, he makes sense, but his iron play has been elite since the Players' Championship. He's got top 10 finishes in each of his last 3 starts, the Players, the Valspar, and the Masters last week, where he wasn't really in contention, so he's not emotionally drained or anything like that, but he's playing good enough golf, and I think he's going to put himself in good enough position. He's a good scrambler typically, so Wes mentioned these small greens. They also redid these greens. They renovated the golf course, which means the greens are going to be a little bit more firm, a little bit harder to hit. So there's going to be a lot more scrambling, a lot more chipping around these greens, and I think Xander can hold his own at 15-1. Wes also mentioned Colin Morikawa at 27-1. Yes, he looks like he's walking around with, like he's a 2x4 or something. He's very scared to maneuver his back a little bit. Even his celebration is a little bit muted when he holed out from the fairway at one point for eagle. He's going to reach down in the hole and look a little bit differently. But I think there's value in that at 27-1 because he absolutely fits this golf course. He's not a driver-heavy guy. He doesn't pound the driver, and certainly his distance was down last week. He was not swinging the ball as hard. He's not comfortable really trusting his back. But sometimes when you're distracted with something going on, a head injury, a back, a wrist, whatever, sometimes it can kind of take your mind off of what's going on. You just kind of lock in. There's no swing thoughts there. So he's gotten, since his win at the Pebble Beach, which is another positional golf course, he's got 3 top 10 finishes. He withdrew from the Players, but there's a withdrawal risk with him. There's certainly some back injury problems, but I think his game perfectly suits this, and I think you got a little bit of value with him. Morikawa at 27-1. Victor Hovland, 37-1. I mentioned Innisbrook earlier with Xander Schauffele. Victor Hovland won at Innisbrook last year. Another guy who right now not hitting the driver very well. He's kind of bunting it down there, just trying to find the fairway, but that's not a big issue. He can hit 3-wood. He can hit iron off of some of these tees and be just fine. Iron play is always elite. That's continued this year. Really finding some things there, and he can pop off at any point. Not the best track record here in 3 appearances at the Heritage. Does not have a top 10 finish, but to me, with his current game, he finished 18th last week at the Masters, so again, not fully in contention. I think he's got a chance at 37-1. And finally, Sepp Straka, another guy. Not the longest hitter, more positional. We've seen it before with him at positional golf courses. He won last year at the Truist, which is not a little less so a positional golf course, but he can pop off at any moment. He's got 2 top 5 finishes in 6 starts here at the Heritage. So Sepp Straka, the Georgia native, originally from Austria, so he sounds like he's from this area of the country, but nevertheless, he should play some good golf on this overseeded Rye and overseeded Poa Travalis on the greens. I think he'll be comfortable in this spot where it's positional. It's not just bombs away with the driver. So Sepp Straka 50-1. I mentioned Schauffele at 15-1, Morikawa 27-1, Victor Hovland at 37-1. And if you want to play a couple placements way down the board, I don't think these guys have any shot of winning, but another guys who are, at the back end of this field who have a chance to come top 20, top 40, considering what this golf course asks. It's a very unique test on the PGA Tour. Chandler Blanchet and Brian Campbell. Brian Campbell, who finished top 30 last week.
T20 or T40?
I think you do a little bit of both, but top 40, you get plus money on both these guys. So Blanchet is plus 124 at Bally's at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's with a B or a P?
Blanchet, B. Okay. A B and it ends in ET, so it's just Blanchet.
Blanchet, boy.
Brian Campbell, who I mentioned, surprising. He won twice on the PGA Tour, but kind of fluky wins, and he's the shortest hitter on tour, so he can compete a little bit more this week. He was surprising last week at the Masters, but plus 152 top 40, and maybe a little sprinkle on those guys at top 20.
Morikawa, we were trying to find some placements, some matchups, and things like that. I know Humans had a lot of those. We're trying to find him not to make the cut. We thought he might withdraw if it was, he pulled out of the TPC after one hole. And he finished his T7. He's got to be out the woods. If he did that, and he's playing in the Pro-Am today, he's got to be feeling good. Huh?
Look, he spoke a lot about it's not as much pain as it is trust. He's got a back injury. It's hard to trust it. But this time, he doesn't have to hit it full. He can kind of bunt it around here and be just fine.
All right, our Golf Consensus Picks brought to you, our buddies at downtown Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111. Great team of attorneys specializing in all areas of law. I've used them for all sorts of things at different times of my life for different reasons. Charlie has as well, and both of us never hesitate to recommend them to any people asking if they need. Take advantage of that initial consultation, 343-1111, and we will evaluate your situation and let you know if it's worth pursuing or not. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Golf Consensus Picks this week, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa.
Live at Sammy's on Highland, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny, live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
The immediate future of LIV, very much in doubt We'll be excited. I'll be excited if it goes away. It's been a pain in the butt, and they finally figured out that they've lost maybe enough. No matter how much money you got, if you eventually you will get tired of you will get tired of losing money eventually.
People with money don't like to lose money forever.
Yeah, at some point there is. Oh, we got more money. No, at some point we're gonna. Max, what's Couchy say about Liv's immediate future?
Well, it looks like they have two events that require the timing of when this might end. There is a Live event that's supposed to start tomorrow in Mexico City. Tomorrow is the first round. It's now 4 rounds, Live, by the way. So it's 54 golf, but it's 72 holes now, in case you weren't following. But 78% chance that the event happens in Mexico City.
They're already
there.
They're
there.
All right.
They have put out pairings. It seems like all systems go at least for this week. Although the players and Live employees are saying they're kind of left in the dark. They have been asking questions, haven't been told anything.
If the employees are asking questions and management's not answering, I've seen that movie before. Go ahead.
For what it's worth, Live Golf Virginia is the next stop. That would be the second weekend of May. 28% chance, according to Kalshi, that will end up taking place. So less than 50% that there's a good chance, according to those prediction markets, that this is the last Live event this week in Mexico City. Now, we could see them, finish out the year or whatever, but it does seem like Live is near its end, and I think that gives an opportunity for the DP World Tour and kind of puts some pressure on the players who just left. Like
Charlie, you like my landscaping caddy private jet analogy?
Yeah, it was good.
You see landscaping outside of business, really just go by like, okay, this is not a good sign. And the caddies got pulled off the private jets. Right. Okay. All right, that's its first sign.
I'm wondering what's going on.
I wanted to be a caddy for a little bit.
They also quit. They used to pay the fines that the DP World Tour was implementing. They quit doing that. That's why Rahm is not paying those. There's been a standoff there.
You got to wonder what's going through his mind, right?
Koepka paid his own?
Koepka paid his own to get back on the PGA Tour.
PGA. I got to wonder what's going through John Rahm's mind, and Bryson DeChambeau too. These are the two and Hatton, I guess, but those are the two primary.
They get all their money up front.
That's what I'm wondering.
Some of them got signing bonuses, but some of them was a yearly thing. So I don't think it depends on them. Depends on
how much money are they owed? How much money will they ever get?
With my thinning blood and me getting cold all the time, I'm really disappointed I don't get to go melt at the City Park for the June event.
New Orleans. Yeah. That would be unfortunate.
Outside New Orleans in June.
It'd be nice to say you went to a Live event. But
I'll stick with Del Mar.
You better hurry.
I'll pass.
Thanks to Sammy's here on Highland again. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 pounds of crawfish plus a pitcher of Bud Light for $39.99. Stay tuned for Matt on Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.